President Biden is hoping Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny's apparent death will spur Congress into approving more aid for Ukraine. AP Washington correspondent Sagar Meghani reports.
President Biden says Alexei Navalny's apparent death brings new urgency to the need for more U.S. aid to Ukraine. Asked if the Russian opposition leader's reported passing will spur the GOP-led House to act.
I hope to God it helps.
With U.S. officials saying Ukrainian troops are running out of vital munitions in the fight against Russia. But the House has not moved on a Senate-passed bill to send billions more in aid to Ukraine and has now gone on a recess.
2 weeks. What are they thinking? My God.
The president says the clock is ticking as concerns grow over whether the U.S. is still a reliable ally. Earlier this week,
we are not going to be forced into action.
And while House Speaker Mike Johnson says he personally supports aiding Ukraine, his plan for moving the aid is unclear. Sagar Meghani, Washington.
A New York judge has ruled against Donald Trump, imposing a $364 million penalty over what the judge says was a years-long scheme to dupe banks and others with financial statements that inflated the former president's wealth. Trump has also been barred from serving as an officer or director of any New York corporation for 3 years. Judge Arthur Engoron issued his decision Friday after a 2.5-month trial. The stiff penalty is a victory for New York Attorney General Letitia James. The Democrat sued Trump in 2022 over what she said were years of deceptive practices as he built his company. The Republican Trump says the lawsuit was politically motivated and the judge was biased against him. For additional stories, visit voanews.com. This is VOA News. Weeks after the Democratic Republic of Congo's worst floods in 60 years, some areas are still underwater and thousands of people are still homeless, prompting calls for action. Reuters correspondent David Doyle has more.
Torrential rains hit in late December, forcing around 500,000 people from their homes. But more than a month later, and some areas are still submerged. Many have to sleep outside on the ground due to a lack of space in the shared tents. 16 of Congo's 26 provinces are grappling with the fallout from the floods. At least 221 people were killed, tens of thousands of homes damaged, and vulnerable communities exposed to an increased risk of malaria and typhoid, according to Congolese authorities and medical charity Médecins Sans Frontières.
David Doyle from Reuters. The top UN court has rejected a South African request to impose urgent measures to safeguard Rafah in the Gaza Strip, but it has also stressed that Israel must respect earlier measures imposed late last month at a preliminary stage in a landmark genocide case. The International Court of Justice said in a statement Friday that the, quote, perilous situation in Rafah demands immediate and effective implementation of the provisional measures indicated by the court on January 26th. It says they are applicable, quote, throughout the Gaza Strip, including Rafah. As Kansas City, Missouri tries to recover after the mass shooting that turned a Super Bowl celebration into chaos, police are working with juvenile prosecutors to determine what happens next with the 2 young people in custody. VOA's Rick Pantaleo reports.
Kansas City Police Chief Stacey Graves says half of those injured were under the age of 16. Police say they detained 3 juveniles but released one who they determined wasn't involved.
The 22 victims' age range between 8 years old and 47 years old. At least half of our victims are under the age of 16. As mentioned yesterday, we have subjects detained, 2 of which are juveniles.
A mother of 2 was killed and 22 people were injured by gunfire Wednesday afternoon when shots erupted amid the throng of fans gathered at a rally outside Union Station after a parade through the city. Rick Pantaleo, VOA News.
President Joe Biden plans to welcome Kenyan President William Ruto to the White House in May, hosting a state visit after reneging on his promise to visit Africa last year. White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre announced Friday that the visit set for May 23rd will seek to, quote, strengthen our shared commitment to advance peace and security, expand our economic ties, and stand together in defense of democratic values. Word of Ruto's visit comes after Haiti announced this week that it is working on an official agreement with Kenyan officials to secure the long-awaited deployment of Kenyan police forces there. The White House also confirmed that Ruto will be honored with a dinner.
Thank you for watching. Can you do me a favor? Please leave a comment in the comments section below. That would really help. Thank you, and see you again soon.